this June 19th. It's a Friday Eve.
It is. I got that Friday feeling already.
Well, I wonder why.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
it's
do
because
wonder why.
this is somebody's Friday.
Maybe.
We'll address that later.
Okay.
I guess. Thanks for joining us on ARC Rochester. I'm Abi Fridmann.
And I'm Dan Schrack. We have a full 2 hours to get through this Thursday morning, so let's run down what we have brewing for you today.
Get your sneakers on because a superhero 5K and Fun Day is happening this week at Hero. We'll be highlighting all that Rochester Hearing and Speech Center does and how you can participate in their upcoming day of fun.
Sounds like fun. And then later on, our resident garden guy is back with another From the Ground Up. And this morning, we are talking all about the Wham Garden, where it stands, and what's in it right now.
What's floating around?
Yeah.
In there. All right. And believe it or not, we are only one day away from the start of the Rochester International Jazz Festival. Today, we're speaking to one of the musicians headlining this weekend.
Yes, but before all of that, we do want to get a check of some of our top local headlines. Stephannie Joseph now with our Thursday morning news break.
Well, good morning there, guys. We do begin with a massive cleanup effort across the greater Rochester region after Wednesday's severe flooding. Now, towns from Monroe to Ontario counties were hit with several inches of rain. As you head out for your morning commute, remember it's never safe to walk or drive through floodwaters. Even just 6 inches of fast-moving water can knock you off your feet. Fire departments also warn that standing water can be contaminated with sewage. Clover Street in Pittsford remains closed in both directions. This is between Jefferson Road and French Road. Some wires are down, crews are working on that scene, and drivers are being asked to find an alternate route. Another place to avoid this morning, over in Gates, the Brooks Avenue underpass right near the airport is closed in both directions due to standing water. Turning now to the Middle East, where an intense round of missile strikes continues between Israel and Iran. Israel taking aim at dozens of military targets in Iran and a nuclear facility overnight. Iranian media says there was no radiation danger and the facility already evacuated. Iran launching its own missiles into Israel and striking a medical building. At least 40 people were injured. Meantime, President Trump is not saying much about the U.S. intervening. This follows a post Trump made on social media calling for Iran to surrender. The Supreme Leader dismissed the comments, saying any military involvement by the U.S. would lead to, quote, irreparable damage to them. And back home in Rush, all EMS will now be handled by CHS Integrated Healthcare, and the fire department is saying it was blindsided by the move. The Board of Fire Commissioners made the decision to merge Rush's volunteer ambulance with CHS on Tuesday. We have reached out to the board for comment and have not yet heard back. For all these top stories and any updates, be sure to visit 13wham.com. Back to you.
All right, let's turn now to the forecast because some areas are under a flood warning until later on this morning.
Yeah, meteorologist Marty Snyder now with what areas could see some showers as the day plays out. Martin, what's it looking like?
Oh, thanks, guys. Yeah, we're going to see at least some scattered showers during the day today. The good news about today is we're not going to see that rain sit over one area for any long period of time. We will see some showers pass through, and what's left of what has been out there for the short term, that continues to lift to the northeast. So now we're starting to at least have a chance to dry things out a little bit. There will be a few new showers forming and making their way through. And the flood warning that you mentioned, that's for the Ellison Park area, still Rondequoit Creek, still running really high in that area. So that's the one place that still is experiencing some issues. As we head forward throughout the day today, we're going to see numbers rise through the 70s, back to about 78 by noon. A couple showers possible here and there, maybe even a thunderstorm this afternoon. But again, this activity will continue to move through and make its way out of the picture. And I think longer term, we're going to see temperatures really warm up by quite a bit. Not so much for the next couple days, mostly 70s for highs, but mid-80s Saturday, near 90s Sunday, and probably in the 90s as we head into early next week. So a lot of big changes coming up as far as heat building. And even today, I think the one change that we'll see during the day is the wind is going to pick up. Do have a wind advisory for Rochester westward with some gusts in the 40s of miles per hour possible. But again, that's one of the biggest things we'll see play out today. A little bit more benign today than what we did experience yesterday, especially with that rain.
I'm sure a lot of folks are going to be relieved to hear that.
Yeah, and there are going to be a couple showers out there, so I don't want to make it seem like it's going to be a dry day, but we're just not going to see that rain sit over areas like it did yesterday, which that's what really was the driver of all those big problems we did have.
Yesterday provided some adventure that we didn't necessarily want or need. So
No.
yeah, we'll take the calm weather. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, let's go off the top now and start with some of the stories that have piqued our interest this morning. I'm going to kick things off today. This story is one part workplace drama, one part horror flick, and all parts what is happening here. A former Truist Bank employee in North Carolina is suing her employer, saying a prank involving a Chucky doll gave her PTSD and ultimately derailed her career. And yes, I'm talking about that Chucky.
Yes.
You see him right there. So according to court documents, the woman, Deborah Jones, disclosed she had several medical conditions, including major depressive disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, an autoimmune disease, and a diagnosed fear of dolls. She says she asked for accommodations, including a workplace transfer, but was denied. But what happened next is where the lawsuit goes from HR headache to horror movie plotline. During her final week of training, her manager allegedly placed a Chucky doll, that fictional serial killer who's been murdering people on screen since Child Play debuted in 1988, in her office chair. They made her take pictures with it, cornered her with it, and according to the suit, even told her she would be exorcised by a priest.
What?
Now, if you're thinking, hold on, this is just a doll, remember, if you already suffer from panic attacks, a surprise pop-up from a slasher icon might not be the team-building exercise you need. So shortly after that, Jones was diagnosed with PTSD tied to this incident and placed on medical leave. When she returned, she says her new manager began mocking her, sarcastically calling her always fraudulent vigilant, after she flagged down a bad check. And while that phrase sounds like it's something good, maybe a compliment on paper, it's not. So, because the lawsuit says it was anything but that. She says it was used to dismiss her condition, suggesting her anxiety and panics were just excuses. Now, this is not teasing, it's not office banter, it's just belittling someone. Jones says she was ultimately fired in March, just 2 weeks after returning from leave. Her lawsuit alleges violations under the Americans with Disabilities Act and seeks damages for emotional distress, lost wages, back pay, and other recovery tied to accommodations that were either denied or ridiculed. Truist Bank has not commented publicly on this lawsuit. So just to recap, we've got anxiety. We've got PTSD, we've got termination, we've got Chucky, and a manager that allegedly used sarcasm as policy. Somewhere in the HR training manual, I'm pretty sure there's a chapter titled, "Don't do any of this," but it's 2025, where your workday might just include a haunted doll and a court summons.
That's actually what most of my days look like.
I know, yours does include at least one workplace haunted doll.
Yes, okay, so actually a couple weeks ago, I meant to post this on social media, but forgot to, so we'll talk about it now. A couple weeks ago, came in after a long weekend, and sitting on my desk was an Annabelle doll, courtesy of Mr. Daniel L. Schrack. Now she sits at my desk with a very nice sign that says, "Super haunted, do not touch." Mm-hmm. And she looks at me all the time, and I look back at her, and we kind of have an understanding. But listen, I'm not going to comment on the whole, like, panic attacks, anxiety, depression, like that. You know what? Leave that to the doctors.
Yep.
What is wrong with that manager?
I know.
Like, listen, if somebody comes to you and they say, "Hey, this is very serious. I am deathly afraid of dolls," the last thing you should be doing is, like, you know what would be hilarious?
Yeah.
We bought her a doll.
It's honestly, it's like a producer, I don't know, maybe our producer, Ashley, saying, "Guys, I'm allergic to peanuts."
Yep.
And we say, "Here's some peanut brittle."
Like what you did to me?
Oh, I did it once.
Accident.
Yeah.
It was
yeah,
accidental.
by accident for sure.
We definitely did send Ashley into anaphylactic shock.
Yep.
It only happened once. She got to
She's
leave
fine,
early.
clearly.
Yeah. Jeff got to use the EpiPen.
Yippee.
I mean, it was an adventure for everyone. We were having mushrooms that were
Stuffed,
imitated
right?
scallops.
Yeah.
And
Cashew butter.
yeah, it was
That
used
took me
cashew
out.
butter.
Yikes.
Took her down. She
Now I
did.
refuse to eat here.
She didn't have to do the noon after that.
That's true, Beck. I guess
long
that's
live.
a
She
plus.
got to go home early. So
It all worked out in the end here.
it did. On this end, though,
I hope that it all smooths out with whatever's going on at Truist Bank.
yeah.
That's
like,
a rough situation.
I don't want that guy as my boss. Or maybe I do, just to watch this blank show play out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. All right, we got to move along to my topic this morning. New top dog who took the oath of office this week out in Middlebury, Vermont, mild stomping grounds. She is the first female mayor and has a really long list of things that she wants to accomplish during her first term. All right, so this, if we have the picture, is Tela, a 3.5-year-old Goldador, a mixed breed dog, half red lab, yellow lab, and golden retriever. She's 100% a good girl, though, which is the most important part. I know what you're thinking. How in the world does she have the right to hold office? Well, her election was actually part of a fundraiser for Addison County's Humane Society, Homeward Bound. I actually did quite a bit of work with them while I was out there. This is a private and independent 501c3 open admission shelter. It's focused on protecting homeless, abandoned, and abused or neglected animals. Now, the race for mayor was pretty close. Each ballot cast included a donation of $5 or more. 1,516 votes were cast between Tela and 3 other challengers. She ultimately walked away on a leash with 533 votes. The runner-up only had 412.
Wow.
So she cleaned house. All in all, the candidates raised $7,500, all for Homeward Bound. Now, the money will go toward helping people who may not have financial resources for very important things like vaccinations and spaying and neutering. We know how important 3 of those 3 things are. Her owners say that they hope she will encourage people to get those procedures done to their pets. And they also tell us that in her spare time, she likes to visit the Davis Family Library at Middlebury College. She is a mental health support pup for students. She will serve 1 year in office, and I believe she will still be working with the students, leaving her
Nice.
office, going around, making the rounds, and visiting those who voted for her.
What was her platform? Like 3 walks a day, a fresh bowl of water, and unlimited treats for everyone?
No, it was actually that she wanted to use the money to pay for spaying, neutering, and vaccines. That was what she ran on.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Wow,
Interesting,
that's
right? And she was
impressive.
actually a rescue from Homeward Bound, too.
Well, see,
is
so
sweet.
she has a paw up
Yeah.
on those other dogs.
Exactly.
I do listen, I like any town that can, has a sense of humor and elects an animal.
She just said, please rap. She gave me a 1 and then said, please rap. Wow. Okay. All right.
It's running out.
In a minute.
Okay, fine. Much more to come this morning on ARC Rochester. As we quickly move along, we'll check in with Chris Lopez, who is baking it till he makes it.
And don't forget, you can watch us on the go wherever you are until Ashley cuts us off. 13 Wham YouTube channel and FoxRochester.com. ARC Rochester is back on the other side of the break. Rochester, we all know, has no shortage of bakeries to satisfy any sweet tooth or craving.
Yeah, Goodman Bakes on East Avenue has both sweet and savory options to choose from. And it is celebrating 5 years of business. Chris Lopez is live at Goodman Bakes this morning. He is taking a look at the menu, and they're putting him to work too. Chris, what's up?
Yeah, guys, I was making some stuff last time, buttering up some biscuits, essentially, cutting some lemon scones here with Lucas Santiago, owner here. Switched up the menu. You guys have more lunch stuff. I want to talk about that first and foremost.
Okay.
What do you guys now have on the lunch menu? Because when people think of a bakery, talking cookies, not you guys.
My thought behind it was people were coming and looking for savory items, I thought, if I offer them maybe a healthy salad, sandwich, by the time they get to the register, then they won't feel so guilty about getting something sweet.
I like that sales idea there.
Yeah, but find some balance.
And then over here, right, I'd be remiss, the stars of the show. What do we have going on here? Look at the diversity here and kind of talk about that, how you kind of developed and created some of these items.
So starting right here, we have our cruffin. It's a cruffin dough that's baked in a muffin liner filled with, today we have a ricotta cheese filling, so it's a cannoli style. This is our maratozzi, which is one of our most popular items.
That's an ancient item. That's what Todd was telling me.
Yeah, it's from Rome. It's a Rome breakfast item, and it's enriched dough with olive oil, lemon zest. It has vanilla pastry cream and then whipped cream. Legend has it, supposedly, that women would take it to their husbands while they're working in the field as an afternoon snack to keep them going through the day.
It's a good afternoon snack there.
Right.
And you're Puerto Rican. You have any Puerto Rican influence when it comes to the menu at all, when you rotate? Maybe not now, but throughout the year?
I do. We serve, it's not Puerto Rican, but it is Latin. Our tres leches cake, which is very popular. White cake filled with, soaked with 3 kinds of milk and vanilla whipped cream on top. Then we have our pastelito, which is basically a turnover with guava and sweetened cream cheese. And our quesitos right here, which is just puff pastry with sweetened cream cheese.
Okay.
Both are dear to my heart. I remember eating them as a kid. And it's not a real pastelito unless you get yourself covered in sugar.
You guys are hard at work. I want to move to the back here real quick. I got to find out what Bryson is doing. Bryson has been hard at work throughout this morning, crystallizing, really working on the sugar. Bryson, good morning. You have been watching this like a hawk here. Yes. You cannot mess this up. I'm not going to interview to mess this up, but what are we doing here? What's this setup?
So we're caramelizing sugar, which is a definite labor of love. And what I've done already was filled these brioche buns with our chocolate miso custard. This is one of the favorites of our community, of our customers that come in. But what I do is I'll carefully dip this into the sugar. And for other bakers out there, we get this to the hard crack stage.
Okay.
Which means that once I dip this in and the sugar cools, we can literally crack it with
like a creme brulee?
Yeah, like a creme brulee. Okay. So our brulee brioche, there you go.
Okay, all right, I'm going to let you get involved with that. Over here, we have a poo-poo platter over here back with Lucas. Whoa. What's going on here?
So we've got the popovers that you were working on earlier. Fresh croissants, our lemon blueberry scones. In the back is our Danish with chocolate miso custard. Here we have some of our bread cubes. This is our honey whole wheat. Zucchini olive oil cake. This is a lemon tea cake soaked in lemon syrup. And one of our most popular items is our chocolate focaccia. It's a focaccia bread made with black cocoa and chocolate chips.
When are you guys open?
We are open Thursday through Sunday, Thursday, Friday from 8 until 6, Saturday 8 until 4, and Sunday 8 until 3. Or 9 until 3, I'm sorry.
Online orders at all? Any custom orders?
We're in the process of updating our website, but we do usually keep people up to date on our website, and you can also follow us on Instagram at Goodman Bakes ROC.
We got Uno Mas, one more hit coming at you guys here on ARC Rochester. Dan, there's no vegan options, man.
No,
I
'cause
tried
you-
earlier
you
in the
ate
morning,
the- you
and I
ate the
ate the
last
only
one.
vegan. I ate the only
legit ate
vegan
it.
option available for you.
Oh man, that's
Yeah.
actually
And,
really mean, Chris.
I know.
That's really mean.
It's okay. We've changed the locks.
You know how the whole parking lot is flooded right now?
Uh-huh.
I think we should put like all of the fun little things he's collected from his live shots in the parking lot,
Yeah.
drenched, ruined.
Yeah, buddy. We have access to your desk right now.
This is true. And HR is in the building. She'll be on our side.
She absolutely will. Sorry, gotta go. See you later. Bye. Hey, you at home, don't go anywhere. We've got a lot more to get to, including when we come back. It's this morning's weather trivia.
Mark will be here when we come back. Hey, welcome back. Meteorologist Mark McLean is joining us now with a look at the rain that we'll see out there today.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
25 years of working here, we've had heavy rain before. Never had it come through the back door of the forecast center.
Okay, it came through the back door of my sunroom.
Yeah, it was intense. We had, I would say 3 to 4 inches here. We don't have a gauge necessarily at the station, saw a lot of pictures, a lot of spotter reports from around the area. So flash flooding was the theme yesterday, and we had many areas that did experience that through the course of the afternoon and early evening. Check out some of this video. I mean, you see something like this. Somebody's having some fun with it.
I mean, you have to.
Right? I mean, this is right across the street. The fast track over there. I stopped. I was on my way out, and I took a photo. There was a tow truck. I'm going to show you it in just a second here. The guy, the operator, had to go underwater to hook the vehicle up to get it out of the road. I mean, I can't ever remember seeing something like that in Western New York. So check this out. This is our trivia for today. How much rain does it actually take to create flash flooding? So how much rain in 1 hour, typically in this area, would create a condition where it would be, quote, unsafe, where we would have too much runoff for our storm sewers? Is it around an inch of rain? Is it up to 1.25 inches, up to 2 inches, or 3 inches or more of rain in 1 hour to create flooding in Western New York? We're going to have that answer at 9 o'clock. That's up on Facebook. Take a look at it there. But it was an exceptional amount of rain, and it turned out to be, get this, the wettest June day in the history of Rochester, and this goes back to the early 1870s. So understandably, before that time, there could have been more rain on any day in June. But 3.15, the former daily record was 2.72 inches back in 1922. And I was looking through some of the records. It turned out to be the 8th greatest amount of rain for any day in the history of Rochester. So we had flash flooding. There's the tow truck operator. Obviously the road was closed. You can't go through this kind of thing. You're going to do damage to your vehicle. The water's going to get up into the engine. You're going to have some real problems. The Weather Service has a slogan: "Turn around, don't drown." And you get fast-moving water, and you can get into some real trouble. Never saw rain like this either. This was at the airport. This is where the official measure comes in for Rochester. There was 1.44 inches of rain in 22 minutes. Wow. That's half a month's worth of rain in 20 minutes.
It's a lot.
That's a lot of rain. And look at this report from Avon. 6.3 inches of rain in Avon. That's 1/6 of the annual total of precipitation that most towns around this area get.
Wow.
In one afternoon. There's the Henrietta total, about 3.8. I'd say that's solid, justified by the floating pool we have in our side yard that was supposed to be a garden. We'll talk about that later. 72 now, southwest at 14.
It's not bitter at all.
The dew point is 64. The showers are moving out for now, but that's not going to be the story this afternoon. We're going to have to watch this thing back to the west. There is a chance for showers and some thunder showers. The good news is when this next system comes in, these showers will be moving. They won't be stagnating and stalling and sitting over the same area and just spinning around. But it is going to kick up the wind as well. So there is a wind advisory in effect for western New York today. This includes Rochester and that little green area that's for flooding along Irondequoit Creek there until 11 a.m., that little green blob. But 9 a.m. through 8 p.m. tonight, this is a wind advisory. Some gusts could reach 50 miles per hour, especially west of Rochester into Orleans and Genesee County, that gust out of the southwest. Watch the futurecast. Here it is at lunchtime. There's that chance for rain and thunder. The Storm Prediction Center predicting that there's a pretty good chance for an outbreak of severe weather eastern parts of New York, parts of New England, parts of New Jersey today. The futurecast overnight tonight starts to dry out. We find dry air moving back in, and Friday right now looks mainly dry, so that's some good news for the end of the week for you. But temperatures may top out near 80. What's going to stop that temperature from rising too much is the wind this afternoon. A well-mixed atmosphere has a really tough time increasing in temperature. The extended forecast in the 70s the next couple of days, mid-80s on Saturday. 90 on Sunday, mid-90s on Monday. It's a heat wave next week. Some scattered thunderstorms start to cool us off by next Wednesday.
I wanted to sing a song, but I'm not going.
What are you going to sing? We're having a heat wave?
Yeah.
A tropical heat wave?
Yeah.
The temperature is rising?
You don't really seem like you're in a singing mood. It's been a rough time, and we'll talk a little bit more about the garden coming up in just a bit.
I know.
I actually thought about bringing in some rubber duckies and just throwing them in there.
Yeah,
or
you
like
should have.
A pool floaty, right? Like
You should have. Listen, I have pitched to producer
There's a koi
Ashley
pond out there.
that we spend the last half hour of Arc Rochester just doing mud wrestling matches out there.
If I wasn't doing the noon show, I would be in today.
See? Could be fun. If you think that's a good idea, send us an email. news@13wham.com.
All right, don't go anywhere. Much more to get to this morning on Arc Rochester.
We're back after this. Welcome back to Arc Rochester this morning. Today is Juneteenth, the holiday to commemorate the end of slavery in the U.S.
Yeah, there are closings because of the holiday and many events happening throughout our community. But before that, we do want to get a little perspective on why it is so important to celebrate Juneteenth right here in our community. We're happy to be joined this morning by Gloria Johnson-Hovey, the founder of the Rock Juneteenth Run and Walk. We also have Reverend Myra Brown from Spiritus Christi Church. Good morning to you both. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
Let's get right into it. And for somebody who's unfamiliar, give us the overview of what Juneteenth is honoring.
Sure. Do you want me to take that, Gloria? Would you like to?
Go right ahead.
Yeah, so Juneteenth for us is known as really Juneteenth Independence Day, right? It's Freedom Day. It's really the real Emancipation Day for the end of slavery in the United States. And so that's what we commemorate. It's celebrated on June 19th, marking the day in 1865 when enslaved Americans in Galveston, Texas were informed of their freedom. And then 2.5 years of course, after the Emancipation Proclamation. So Juneteenth is important because it acknowledges the delay and the incomplete nature of freedom for many enslaved people. And it serves, we believe, as a celebration of Black freedom and a reminder of the ongoing fight for equality and really the day when everybody was free. July 4th, 1776, some people were free. 1865, everybody was free.
I thank you for that. We appreciate that. Gloria, where did the idea for you come from to mark this day in such an interesting way?
Well, Rochester has had a history of celebrating Juneteenth. I did not begin that at all in Rochester. So there was a celebration of Juneteenth. It was, when I attended it, it seemed less attended. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to add to, there's so many other things that we can do to commemorate and to celebrate Juneteenth. And being a runner, I've never put on a race before. I've run in races. And so I figured, what if I did this? Could I possibly do this? And I was thrilled when two of my friends were encouraging, and all it takes is one or two people to say, hey, yeah, you can do that. I also am a retired school social worker, and it's very disappointing how under celebrated it is within the district. And so that was a huge impetus for me to do it. There was some teachers in my building that did a tremendous job in, celebrating and explaining and teaching Juneteenth to their students with so many different activities. And then others were just lacking or nothing. And so it was important to bring that to the school, an option for teachers to participate in it in our community. So it was really, so many different aspects of it. It's not lost on me. My heroine is Harriet Tubman. What would Harriet do? When I get discouraged about the simple things and sometimes huge things in my life, it's like, okay, what would Harriet do? She kept going, keep going. And the run and walk, also celebrates her. We just get up and go, no matter how hard it is, no matter how tough it is. And clearly she did it under many more stressful events than what we are doing. So it's a celebration of moving, keep going, getting our community up and out and moving. Exercise is so important for everyone, and it's just another opportunity for people to participate. And then also bringing the awareness of Juneteenth to a community that may, under-celebrate it, the running community. So I encourage people to, when they go out on their runs, their trail runs, their road runs, think of Harriet Tubman, think of the spirit of Juneteenth, think of commemorating this, in your own special way, whatever your favorite activity is, but honor those that have come before us and got us to this Freedom Day.
That is so powerful.
It is. Gloria, if I can, I just want to ask a quick follow-up. You mentioned within the educational system, some teachers, do a great deal in teaching about this, some not so much. Is enough being done within the education system, at least locally, to inform children about the holiday?
Full disclosure, I'm retired. So I am hopeful that that is happening in every building. And it starts from the superintendent down. So people will only do what they're, what they're encouraged to do, and then also mandated to do. We're mandated teachers. We need to explore and we need to teach our kids. Homes need to do that, families. And so, if you're not familiar with the celebration of Juneteenth, I encourage every family to think, okay, why haven't I? And personally, I didn't grow up celebrating Juneteenth. So not every African-American, brown or black person has grown up celebrating Juneteenth. So it's a learning thing for all of us. To coin a phrase that's overused, unpack that.
Fair enough.
What happened? What was going on in my life, my family's life, and people were getting by and just attempting to do so many things. And so now is the time. It's always a good time to start an important, celebration. And when you understand, what we're doing, and we're all in it together. There were many white people that got us to freedom. Rochester is a historic place for the Underground Railroad. We were helped. We used our own skills and our own strength and our own courage, but we were also helped. So to not celebrate it nationwide in all spaces is doing a disservice to all the people that came before us, the freedom riders, young people, were so instrumental for pushing us forward. And generally they are the ones that, help us to get to the change quicker.
For some, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking that I grew up in the Rochester City School District. I came up through that system from a child up, and I was never taught about it. It was never mentioned in the classroom. And for me, it's interesting because really running and creating a strategy of walking away was what enslaved people did to escape the cruelties of enslavement, with the experience of and the dream of freedom in their heart. And where it becomes connected locally is enslaved people were still running away from slavery in 1822 in New York State, in upstate New York, and what we know as Monroe County. So we didn't end enslavement officially until 1825. And then, we still, as a state, required indentured servitude for males until the age of 25 and females until the age of 21. So what that tells us is that really every institution and every group of people really needs to know this history and commemorate this history and set our eyes towards the future to create a better environment so that the Black freedom struggle can have an endpoint, because it's still a relevant experience. Even though there's sort of physical freedom, there's still sort of this Black freedom struggle for equality and equity for Black and brown people in the United States. And so I think this history is important for and to work there, even to reclaim, right, the partnership that happened through the Underground Railroad to get to the essence of freedom for everybody.
I want to thank you both so much for your time today. We're running low on time, only about 40 seconds or so. But I'm curious, for somebody who is very, very passionate about this, who wants to do something today, maybe they can't attend this run, walk, race, what can they do to still honor the holiday?
Well, for today, we also have a wonderful jazz event. So from 4 to 6 p.m. At Genesee Valley Park at the Roundhouse Shelter, come and join us and listen to some wonderful jazz music. Jazz was born from the Juneteenth experience. And I really need to really emphasize that, because there are jazz events that do not acknowledge the Juneteenth experience within their jazz events. And so we are reconnecting jazz to Juneteenth. So yes, you can do whatever it is that you enjoy. If you enjoy gardening, think about Juneteenth. Read something about it. Talk about it. You challenge yourself to like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do this in a much more mindful way. If you're playing tennis, if you're swimming, whatever the activity is, bring up Juneteenth to your family and friends, and even just recognizing it to yourself to begin with. There's always something. There's been wonderful festivals throughout the week regarding Juneteenth. And so, move into those spaces and enjoy them.
Very good.
I would
Thank
also
you.
just add that we could read to children. You can walk and talk about the history. You can stand up for equity when they have the opportunity, and invest in organizations that are working for freedom and equity and inclusion.
Very good.
Perfect.
Thank you both so much for your time this morning. We greatly appreciate it, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
Thank you very much.
Much more to come this morning on ARC Rochester. When we come back, we'll check in once again with Chris Lopez, who is rolling in the dough this morning.
We are back after this.
Rochester has a lot of bakeries. Some have traditional baked goods, others have non-traditional menus.
Yeah, I had to change that. I feel like this is a little too casual.
I would say, yeah,
a little
maybe
too casual
little.
for
Yep.
work. Goodman Bakes on East Avenue prefers the latter, and it's celebrating 5 years of thinking outside the box. Chris Lopez is there this morning learning what goes into making a fantastic and very diverse menu. Hey there, Mr. Lopez.
Hey, what's up, guys? Yes, 5 years in the business, 2 of it online, 3 here on East Ave, right next to the Little Theater if you're looking for it. I'm here with Lucas Santiago. Now, really, the birth of this idea came from a health scare, would you say?
It did. I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and during my treatment of radiation, I would go home and just start baking pies. And I found that to be really very therapeutic, and I started handing them out to people.
For free?
For free.
Yeah, just for free?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, so many pies you can eat, right? And I got a pretty good response. And one thing led to another, and Goodman Bakes was born.
And that initial response from the community, you make something for someone and you often don't know if it's going to be good, if they're lying either, if they tell you that it's good.
Yeah.
So how did that response feel when someone initially said, this is really good, I'd like another one?
It really just touched me and warmed my heart, especially at a time where I could have gone to a different place. So I think just by sharing my passion with people and getting that positive feedback, it only helped my health and it really just kind of brought me to full circle where I am.
And recently, you had to close down a little bit, but you had an outpouring from the community.
It was incredible. We had so many well wishes via our Instagram page and people that were waiting for us to come back. And as soon as we opened the doors, I mean, it was. I could get emotional talking about it. It was just the outpouring of affection and love was tremendous.
And how is your health now? You look great.
Thank you. I feel great. I'm doing really well. I'm going to the gym. I'm doing all the right things, and I'm doing what I absolutely love.
And what's next for Goodman Bakes? You guys changed the menu seasonally. We're going into summer. Summer solstice is tomorrow. You guys changing up the menu again for summer, for the official start of summer?
It probably will change. With all the beautiful produce that's going to be abundant soon, we'll start getting into more fruit pies, more fruit incorporated in our breakfast items. Maybe we'll one weekend just do like a blowout of strawberries, and then when raspberries come into season, we'll do the same thing with raspberries, and we'll just kind of follow that track.
And then you have what it looks like a loyal customer base that comes in here. I've seen it throughout the morning. This is a really nice spot too. You're in a really great location, but if you were to franchise or move somewhere else, you go to New York City, I feel like this place could really fit in on any big city and you could bring in a little bit more cash, but you choose to stay here in Rochester. Why?
Because I grew up in the city. I feel like the city needs something like this to make it more of a community. I got from all of the customers that have been coming in here just what a great addition to the neighborhood we are, and I feel it every time somebody walks in.
Yeah, and a great addition. I've been here twice now. You guys make amazing stuff. This is almost AI driven when you look at some of the different muffins, cruffins. What is this here? This is a brand new one.
This is our new orange blossom water brioche roll.
Okay.
So it's a brioche style bread filled with orange blossom custard, little orange zest. We just started making it a few weeks ago, and we're going to see how it goes over.
There we go. Goodman Bakes, check them out. East Ave, right next to the Little Theater. I'm going to send it back to you guys in studio. I may or may not bring something back for you guys. Who knows?
I'm tired of all this teasing, Chris.
Yeah, we're just going to go to the store and get something. Thanks, buddy.
When ARC Rochester returns, we're lacing up our shoes for an upcoming fundraiser that is pretty super.
Yes, we'll be right back after this. 8:52 this Thursday. And this Sunday, Rochester Hearing and Speech Center is hosting its second annual Superhero 5K and Family Fun Day at Seneca Park.
Yeah, this morning we're learning about all the heroes involved. Joining us now is the center's Director of Development, Christy Post. Christy, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. We're excited to talk about our event.
We're excited to talk about it. This is your brainchild, and this is the second annual event. We were talking during the commercial break. You said bigger and better
and better.
Super than ever before.
It sure is. So we had about 200 participants last year, which was great for a first-time event, and a lot of those were kids, so it's free for kids under 12. So we beefed up our kids zone this year. So we've got a couple of events going on. We've got our 5K run walk. We've got a 1 mile walk, run, roll, or stroll. And then we have a super kids zone with a bunch of vendors and some fun activities for the kids that are coming out. And the highlight of the whole thing is at the end of it, there's Netson's ice cream, because if you've run or walked a mile, you deserve some ice cream.
Absolutely, you do.
I like that thinking.
Yeah.
I think I need to take that into consideration.
Listen, you roll out of bed. You deserve some ice cream, okay? Christy, when you first launched this last year, did you think that it would get the response that it did?
We were surprised, pleasantly surprised at the turnout last year. And, it's one of the things I think that's appealing for folks is it's completely accessible and inclusive. There is something for all ages and abilities. We had strollers out, we had individuals in wheelchairs out, we had people walking, we had people running, lots of kids out. We had a number of people doing their first 5K, and I think we've got a couple more of those again this year. So Seneca Park's a really great location for this event. There's a 1 mile loop, so they do it 3 times for the 5K and 1 time for the 1 mile, so everyone's out there together.
Let's talk a little bit about the heroes involved with all of this. They're wearing their superhero shirts, but they're doing a lot more behind the scenes.
So our kids or our families or
all of the above.
All of the above. So yeah, one of the great things I think about this event is it really brings our staff out. They're the ones that are the true heroes, working with kids and with folks with hearing difficulties every day. And they come out and they volunteer and get to see the families in a sort of different setting and see even some of the progress. Some of our kids come to us. We do early intervention for kids under the age of 3, and some kids come to us unable to walk, unable to talk. And we see them grow and progress, and then we see them out in an event like this with their families supporting them, and it's just, those are the real superheroes, the families and the kids that we get out there.
That's got to be so meaningful for you and your colleagues to see the growth in some of your younger clientele.
Yes, and we see they start with us in the fall. We kind of run for a school year calendar, so we see them in the fall coming in very young, very in need of services, and then we see them graduate a year later, and it's really exciting. Yeah.
It's truly incredible.
That is exciting. For somebody interested, give us the details, the when, the where, how they register, what they wear.
What they wear. Well, we had some superheroes in full superhero garb last year. A couple of kids even out on strollers or scooters with their superhero costumes. So it is this Sunday at Seneca Park. Registration starts at 8 a.m. The event starts at 9 a.m. You can register on our website at rhsc.org, and we will be having registrations up to the day of the event.
Terrific. Christy, thank you so much for coming
in.
We really appreciate it. And if you missed any of that, don't worry. We will post it all on our website, foxrochester.com, after the show this morning.
Much more to come this morning on Arc Rochester.
Stick around. We're back after this.
Much more to get to this morning on ARC Rochester. As we continue into the 9 o'clock hour, Stephannie Joseph will be breaking down some of our top political stories.
Yeah, she joins us now with a preview of what we can expect at 9. Morning, Steph.
Morning there, guys. In today's Political Pulse, we're taking a closer look at the role of the United States in the ongoing conflict between Israel and Iran. Now, I speak to a professor of history about previous U.S. intervention in the region as President Trump takes questions over the matter. That's all coming up in our 9 o'clock hour. ARC Rochester returns after this.
On this Thursday morning, it's Friday Eve, June 19th. Can you believe it's the 19th?
Friday Eve. Summer Eve.
Summer Eve.
Summer Eve.
How about that?
Beautiful way of putting that.
Get some changes in, right, for summer?
Yeah. This is ARC Rochester. I'm Abi Fridmann.
I'm Dan Schrack. That's Mark McLean. We'll get a check of his forecast coming up in just a bit. We'll start things out, though, with Stephannie Joseph with your ARC Rochester news break.
Here are some of the top local stories that we're following this Thursday morning. A massive cleanup effort underway in the greater Rochester region after flash floods. Now, that flooding stretched from Henrietta to Canandaigua when the area was hit by several inches of rain. Good advice to remember: it's never safe to walk or drive through floodwaters. Even just 6 inches of fast-moving water can knock you off your feet. Fire departments warning us how dirty standing water can be most likely contaminated with sewage. Clover Street in Pittsford is still closed in both directions. This is between Jefferson Road and French Road. Some wires are down and crews are working on that scene. Drivers will have to find an alternate route. Also this morning, this is the Brooks Avenue underpass in Gates, right near the airport. It's closed in both directions to traffic due to standing water. Canandaigua police are asking for your help finding a missing vulnerable adult. Take a look at your screen here. This is 37-year-old Keith Webb. Officers say he was last seen on Sunday. If you have any information on where he might be, you are asked to call Canandaigua police at 394-4560. Happening today, a joint response training for several agencies in Monroe County. People out in Webster are being advised that there will be a large first responder presence at Thomas High School this afternoon. Officers with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Webster, Irondequoit, Gates, Greece, and Rochester police departments and fire departments will all be on scene as they undergo a multi-agency response training. Additionally, Publishers Parkway is closed today until 4 o'clock. Again, this is only a training. For all these top stories and any updates, be sure to visit 13wham.com. Back to you.
All right, Steph, thank you. We'll get a check of the forecast now and the answer to this morning's weather trivia.
Yeah, and it was along the themes of flooding. Obviously, the flash flooding yesterday disrupting the way home for you, and worse for some folks with some flooded basements across the area. We saw lots of reports of flooding. But, when you look at it from a weather standpoint for this area, how much rain does it actually take in 1 hour to create flash flooding? Is it around an inch and a quarter, 2 inches, or 3 inches or more of rain?
I'm going to go with D.
Yeah?
I was going to go with C.
When I put this up, it's when it hits your mind, you say, well, first of all, is it flat terrain? Is it hilly terrain? Because that makes a difference. What kind of soil is it? Is it clay soil like we have here in Henrietta that's not readily absorbent for heavy rainfalls? Or is it sandy like Lakeside where the rain runs off and moves off more quickly? But surprisingly, it's only around an inch of rain.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. So, and it depends on prior conditions too. Has it been dry recently? Has it been wet recently? That determines how much of this turns into runoff. But obviously, this was way too much rain. Yesterday's official rainfall was the 8th greatest daily rainfall on record for Rochester. The official rain was 3.15 inches at the airport. And we had some reports of more than that here in Henrietta, 3.8 from a National Weather Service spotter. Down in Avon, I saw a report from a local photographer down there. He had 4.5 inches of rain in his rain gauge down that direction. So some of these rain amounts are basically a monthly amount of rain in just hours. I mean, that's the way to look at that right there for 3.15 inches of rain.
Can I make a guess that with this Muddy Paws forecast here, it's going to be either a towel time or bath time kind of day?
Yeah. And even honestly, even if I didn't have rain in the forecast today, I would have thrown towel time at this because the yard it's a muddy disaster.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
And you should see the stream of debris that came through our backyard. It's just a little swale, and the water that ran through. And I mean, there's just stuff everywhere. I mean, it's just everywhere. And that's a small pity party for us compared to the real problems that a lot of folks have. That the sump pump might have failed or something like that, and you got a flooded out basement. I know the garage here is still flooded. We're talking about bringing a pump in to pump it out. But Friday, it's wet paws still, and the weekend forecast starts to dry out pretty nicely. There is a small chance on Saturday that we get some showers and thunder, but I think largely that day will be dry. So the cow and the donkey.
I love that.
I do too.
I know.
I love cows so much.
People keep posting it. Well, obviously, most of the posts were about flooding and rainfall from yesterday. But
They have hooves, though, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so muddy hooves forecast.
Yeah, and they stay outside too, which is
true.
Not an issue for the carpeting, but flash flooding. U-Haul. What are we hauling? Hopefully something heavy there.
A sump pump.
Right?
No, I think kayaks maybe.
Right? 13wham.com/chime in. Your weather photos, your muddy paw photos, and I know you're going to have some muddy paw photos for us after today and last night out there. If you want to share those, we'd be more than happy to see them. But you don't want to try to cross something like that. But hey, here's something that's going to help us dry out a little bit today. There's actually a wind advisory, and it's not going to be enough wind to cause real issues, but it is enough to talk about in the forecast. So the future wind gusts start to get into that 30, 40 mile per hour range. Look at Albion right there by 3, 4 o'clock. Could get some gusts closer to 50. So if you're on the west side of Monroe County, Brockport, Spencerport, Churchville, out towards Batavia, you're going to get some wind gusts, 40, 45 miles per hour. You're going to notice it this afternoon as that drier air starts to move in later tonight, and that wind will start to back off nicely for us. So one thing to consider in the forecast right now, that wind is out of the southwest, and it's gusting to 21 miles per hour. So noticeable again, but not enough to cause any issues, and thankfully it's dry at 74 degrees. Now the showers from earlier, they're moving off to the east pretty quickly, but widening out that view. You see that next area of low pressure just to our west, and that's going to give us that chance this afternoon of seeing some passing showers and thunder showers. Now there is the isolated chance that we get a brief strong thunderstorm this afternoon, especially east of Rochester, but these things are moving. So it's not the same scenario, it's not the same setup that we had yesterday. These storms are not going to sit over one spot and just quote deluge in the area. By Friday, it is again a mainly dry forecast. We'll get some sunshine going and work our way through it. So fast moving afternoon showers and maybe some thunder. We'll drop from the low 80s back to the low 60s later tonight. And the 7-day forecast is one for the summer lovers. Summer starts tomorrow, 10:42 in the evening.
Yeah.
That the extended forecast has summer showing up on time. Look at that.
You know, I'm so glad that you mentioned that, Mark, because, you know, we've had the countdown for, I mean, since what, 90 days?
I think it was
something
even
like
more
that.
Yeah.
And, you know, we thought we'd do a little something special today for the last couple hours as we count down to summer. Ashley.
Oh, this is great.
Oh, look at that.
Whoa.
I love it.
Don't you look great?
God, look at my legs.
Love my jorts.
Oh, boy.
Oh, look at that pose right there.
Yeah.
I know, quite the
That's
stance.
fantastic.
Wow.
I had to dig through your Facebook to find that picture.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Listen, I'm surprised I kept that one public. That's back from my old tennis days, obviously. I'm glad you picked the one, though, where I did have a shirt on.
Yes. You know, I mean, I figured
Shirtless and in jorts.
too much.
Lot for television.
This is a family-friendly show.
This was very funny.
Mostly.
Thank you. It's in case you were wondering why I was like on my phone for so long.
Oh, I
today.
did. No,
Oh.
And I had no idea that this was happening. so
Well,
I
there you
like
go.
it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
What can I say?
Look at
Photoshop.
those legs.
You know.
Watch out.
Man. Skies out, thighs out, people.
Oh, no.
Stick around. We've got a lot more to come right here on Arc Rochester, including when we come back, Stephannie Joseph breaking down some of our top political headlines.
Yeah. Don't forget, take us on the go wherever you are. We're streaming live right now on the 13 Wham YouTube channel and foxrochester.com. We're back after this.
It's time for a political pulse check here on ARC Rochester. Israel and Iran continue to exchange missiles as the conflict enters another day. Now, Israel striking a heavy water reactor in Iran. Local media there said it was already evacuated. Iran also launching missiles on an Israeli hospital, leaving dozens injured. The U.S. now mulling over the possibility of intervening as Iran's supreme leader says it could trigger a war and lead to irreparable harm for the nation.
I have ideas as to what to do, but I haven't made a final. I like to make the final decision 1 second before it's due, because things change. I mean, especially with war, things change with war. It can go from one extreme to the other.
And for more on this, I'm joined by Professor of History at SUNY Empire State, Dr. Ian Reifowitz. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Stephannie.
So I do want to start off with the U.S., the role that it has in this. But specifically, we know that President Trump has another intelligence briefing in the Situation Room this morning. So in terms of where we go from here, what do you make of how he's responding in this current moment?
President Trump thinks about things in his own way. It really is difficult, I think, to some degree, to predict which way he's going to go. He does make his mind up, as he said, at the last possible moment. So events, certainly can influence things. His overriding goal is to get Iran to surrender its nuclear enrichment program. He doesn't want them to be able to enrich nuclear materials anymore. That's a precursor to being able to make a weapon. Iran says that they want to enrich nuclear materials for civilian purposes, for energy purposes, and that they don't want a weapon, but there are doubts about that, and that's all part of the negotiations. At the end of the day, I think what President Trump would like to have is a deal. And there were negotiations between the U.S. and Iran before the Israeli strikes that started a few days ago. I think his hope is that those strikes will weaken or soften Iran's negotiating position to the point where they feel like they don't have much of an alternative but to give in on this nuclear enrichment question. And then we'll see what President Trump can offer them as an incentive, perhaps a face-saving incentive, so that they can take something from the negotiations as well. If they don't, then it's up to the president whether he wants to get involved militarily and help Israel with its offensive attacks. So far, the U.S. has helped Israel somewhat on the defensive side. But it would be a huge escalation for the U.S. to get involved in assisting Israel in attacking Iran's nuclear sites or other military sites.
And I'm wondering, you had just mentioned it there a little bit earlier about deals prior to this in terms of the U.S. working with Iran to sort of make sure that their nuclear program does remain at bay. Can you speak a little bit to the history, the longstanding history that this country has with Iran?
It's a long and complicated history. It goes back, I think, farther than most of your viewers might expect. So in the early 1950s, and I'll try to keep this brief, Iran had an elected parliament. There was a Shah who was a dynastic ruler, but he was limited in his power. In 1951, the elected leader, a man named Mossadegh, who was the prime minister, nationalized the oil industry. This was very upsetting to the people who owned the oil companies, which were largely British. Within a couple of years, the nationalization and the perception that Iran would move economically towards socialism led to the U.S. essentially sponsoring a coup in which the elected leader of Iran was overthrown by Iranian forces backed by the CIA, backed by the United States. In other words, we overthrew the elected government of Iran. They did not like that, and they remember that. We installed the Shah as an absolute ruler. He suppressed democratic and religious elements in Iranian society in favor of his own pro-U.S. dictatorship. His dictatorship was also pro-Israeli. So that history hangs over all of this. In 1979, his government was overthrown by the Iranian theocratic revolution, the Islamist forces that are still in control today under the Ayatollah. In 2015, under President Obama, there was a nuclear deal in which Iran promised to have limitations on its nuclear program. Is the long story short. Then President Trump came into office. He tore up that deal. So in some sense, now that he's trying to get back to a new deal, one can ask oneself, well, why did he tear up the first deal? President Trump would argue the first deal wasn't good enough, and experts can debate that. So that's in 2 minutes, there's 50 years plus, 75 years exactly, of history between the U.S. and Iran.
And I'm wondering, just given that longstanding history, what the path forward may look like. Is it diplomacy? Is diplomacy still possible with President Trump? I'm actually going to pull up a tweet that he had sent out on Truth Social that he had basically said that they were not going to kill the Iranian leader yet. Let me read it word for word here. We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He is an easy target. We are not going to take him out, kill, at least not for now. But we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. So with comments like that in Iran saying that we are not backing down, does diplomacy look like a path forward?
It's a path. It's a very tricky path. At the same time that the Iranian leader has rejected negotiations, the media reports are that a senior Iranian leader, speaking anonymously, has said that they are open to negotiations. So we'll have to see how that plays out. It is against U.S. policy to assassinate a head of state. Having said that, we also know that the Supreme Court has determined that a president is immune from prosecution for any acts he takes as a part of his official duties. So if the president doesn't care about violating that policy, then he will do what he wants. But it has been longstanding U.S. policy not to assassinate foreign leaders. I think the president thinks that force, and the Israeli force at this point, and then possibly joined by U.S. force, can bring Iran back to the table. There is a very specific piece of force that Israel wants the U.S. to employ, and that is the so-called bunker buster bombs that would probably damage and maybe even destroy the Iranians' most fortified nuclear site at a place called Fordo, which is very deep inside a mountain. It sounds a little like something out of Lord of the Rings. But there are bombs that the U.S. has that can be delivered only by U.S. planes, U.S. bombers. Israel doesn't have those. But if the U.S. were to bring that to bear, it could, seriously damage Iran's ability to enrich nuclear material and have a nuclear weapons program. But that would bring the U.S. directly into the war. Iran has threatened a serious response if that happens. The off-ramp is for Iran and the U.S. to make some kind of contact. Iran has had some negotiating meetings with Europeans scheduled for Friday, but if the U.S. isn't involved, it's not that serious, but maybe they can relay something through the Europeans that gets back to the U.S. Diplomacy is still possible. Let's see what happens.
All right, Professor Reifwitz, thank you so much for joining us again this morning, for providing insight on this topic. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
And be sure to stay with ARC Rochester for your top political headlines. We're back after this.
9:23, welcome back. Time now for From the Ground Up. Resident garden guy Mark McLean is here alongside Jason Reed from J. Reed Construction to talk about the Ark Garden. And, I feel it feels like Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I mean, have you, as you work through some of these projects that you have, Jason, have you ever experienced something like what we had yesterday with the rainfall?
Not like yesterday, but yeah, the whole year we've been fighting the weather and trying to really allocate the manpower where we can just to beat this rain.
Yeah, and we had groundbreaking, we had everything set to go, and then the sky opened up, and we had an all-time record for rainfall. We had 3.15 inches of rain, which ended up being the greatest daily rainfall for June. And take a look. This is what the rain did to some of our projects yesterday. We've got a little video that we can check out. So.
It's a swimming pool, is what it is.
Yeah.
So, but there's always a learning lesson in everything. So what do you do? You're in the middle of this project. We're going to put in some raised beds, as we were talking about, and we were really making some headway yesterday. What do you tell the guys? What do they get into now that they face something like this today?
Yeah, it's a good question. So right now what we're going to do is we're hooking up a pump. We have a pump that'll move about 44,000 gallons in an hour. So hopefully we should have that cleared out within an hour. And then once we do, we'll probably start to put down our fabric, and hopefully we can get our dingo in there to remove the remaining soil and start to put the stone base in.
Yeah, and the dingo is the interesting little contraption right there, right?
It is, yes.
It's moving.
It's a very versatile tool for us.
Yeah.
What all does it do?
So we have an auger with that, so we can dig holes with
Sure.
it. It has obviously the bucket. I also have forklift, so we can move lumber with it.
Oh, wow.
And then I also have a trencher. So, like I said, it's a very versatile tool.
Absolutely.
And it seems like you've got a great crew working for you, too. They were out there, working hard.
Yeah, that they do. They all work very hard.
Does this bother them, though? Like, to know we put in a ton of work yesterday, and we knew we had work ahead of us, but you wake up and you show up there and you realize, okay, I guess the first hour of the job now has changed, and it's to pump all this water out.
Yeah. Of course, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Yeah.
But that has been the year to date, so.
Yeah, it was a cool and wet May for sure, and all of June's rain came in one day for everybody yesterday. We had a week straight where it was really starting to dry out a little bit, and then we had that yesterday. I saw a spotter report from Avon area. It was over 6 inches of rain. A National Weather Service spotter had over 6 inches of rain. So that's going to have a huge impact. It doesn't matter where it falls, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Really incredible. So today, the process, I don't know how long this will take, but what does the day look like for you guys out there?
So, it's a great question. So today we're going to try to get the water out.
Sure.
We're hoping that we can get the machine in there where we can at least start to maneuver a little bit. It might be too slippery. We might just have to call the day and say we have to let it dry out. So hopefully no more rain.
Yeah, well, there's a chance this afternoon.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's been a rough stretch. There's no guarantees, unfortunately. This afternoon we could see some showers and thunder fire up again, especially east of here. We'll have to track that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we do plan on getting the gardens here today.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice. Okay,
So,
that'll be cool.
so I guess my last question is, how long before we get these vegetables in the ground? Because Mark is going to blow his lid over here.
I know.
If he has to wait much longer.
He's still counting on those 2,000 tomatoes.
I know.
I think he really is.
I think the estimate's going to
It's
come
going down day by day at this point.
Reduced expectations.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. There still will be enough tomato
There will.
growing season. I think they'll do just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've got the green thumb, too.
Oh,
Yeah.
We'll make our way through. One way or
And
another.
from what I understand, any of the 2,000 that don't actually grow, you're providing. Right?
I could, because we
There
have.
you go.
I think we have like 30 or 40 tomato plants in our
Oh,
own
wow.
garden.
There you go.
So, yeah.
We should just show up to his house.
Well-watered tomato plants, too.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's fair. If somebody wants to learn more about the construction company, all the work you guys do, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you guys?
Best way is to go to Facebook, message us, obviously our website, and or call us at 585-438-4292.
Very good. Jason Reed, J. Reed Renovations, thank you so much for your
Thank
time
you.
today. And thank you again for all of the hard work that you're doing
Best
out
to
there.
Melissa for cleaning up, too.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's got a
Yeah.
job down there.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've
does.
got boots and swimsuits in the back if you guys
Snorkel.
need either of those today.
Yeah.
Just let us know.
Much more to come this morning on ARC Rochester.
Yeah, don't go anywhere. We're back on the other side of the break. Welcome back to ARC Rochester. We are just one day away from the start of the Rochester International Jazz Festival, and then downtown will be filled with music and dancing. Yeah, and we're previewing one of the headlining acts this morning. The Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra with Wynton Marsalis headlines Kodak Hall with a sold-out show.
Yeah, and an Eastman alum is one of the newest members of the orchestra. She is saxophonist Alexa Tarantino, and she's joining us this morning. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Good morning. I wish I was there in person. I miss Rochester.
Well, we wish you were here as well, and Rochester certainly misses you. I want to talk a little bit about your time at Eastman in just a moment, but first, congratulations on this gig. It's got to be so exciting for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a dream come true. It's one of those childhood pinch me moments where you could never have imagined that you'd be where you are now. So I'm very grateful.
You've been playing with Wynton for a bit of time now, and he called you a one-woman wrecking crew. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, that was a wild moment. I'm so grateful for his mentorship. You know, it's part of the music. It's the spirit of the music and how it's been passed down for years and years and years. And so to be mentored by someone like him and really be able to, you know, be pushed every single night on stage and take a solo after him on stage, it's incredible.
So your time at Eastman, tell us about it and how it kind of shaped the musician that you are now.
I loved Eastman. I always joke when Jamal Rossi was the dean, and he just retired shortly, maybe a year or so ago. But I used to joke that I wanted a commission on all the people that I was sending to go study at Eastman, because every time I met a young jazz student, I would just sit them down and tell them about my time there. It was transformative, and it really, I think, where I am now, it's largely due to the education and the mentors that I had at Eastman. What's so special about it is that the faculty really make it feel like a family. So you move to Rochester and you join this jazz family there, and then of course the festival is such a pinnacle of the year that when you stay for the summer and you get to see all these amazing headliners, it just boosts your musicianship in a way you could never have dreamed of.
So what is it going to be like to come back and be on that stage at Kodak Hall, your old stomping ground, but you're there with the headlining act?
It's going to be a thrill. Sadly, it's such a quick trip. I've gotten used to this tour life of, you open your bag in your hotel room and you go play the gig and then you pack back up the next morning. But I'm really looking forward to squeezing in as many familiar faces as I can. And it'll definitely be a sentimental moment. I was there last year to perform Jeff Tyzik's concerto with the wind ensemble, and now to be back in this capacity, I'll be looking around, probably tearing up a bit.
I'm sure. When you were a student, did you ever attend the Jazz Festival?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I might have been on this news channel shortly after, because Philip Bailey of Earth, Wind and Fire actually spontaneously invited me to sit in with Earth, Wind and Fire when they were headlining. I was a senior, and I met him in a coffee shop thanks to an amazing supporter, David Belasco, and his family foundation, who provided scholarships for jazz students. So I was on scholarship thanks to them. And I went up and introduced myself to Philip Bailey, and he said, "Why don't you come to our sound check?" And so that was my first time playing at the festival.
Wow.
And you've played with them since then, correct?
No, that was a one time. I mean,
okay.
maybe we're putting the,
we're putting it in the universe
right now.
Absolutely. Well, okay, so you're coming back to Rochester. You're only going to be here for, 24 hours, 36 hours maybe. You're performing at Kodak Hall. You want to see some faces. What else of Rochester that's, typical Rochester do you plan on doing? Are we going to get a garbage plate? Are we going over to Highland Park? What do we got going on?
Yeah, we're definitely going. If I can do Highland Park Diner, that would be amazing. The garbage plate, I think I had to, retire that part of my my Rochester experience. But Java's for sure, right next to Eastman, and I might have to stop at the Sibley Music Library, which is Eastman's incredible collection of music and recordings. And then Park Ave, good old Park Ave, just walking, through and seeing the beautiful homes and flowers and everything. It's going to be amazing to be back. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it. Unfortunately, the show is sold out, yes? Well,
yes, the show
fortunately
is
for
sold
you,
out.
but
Fortunately for you, unfortunately for you at home.
I know.
Unless you got
come
tickets.
To New York. Come to New York and come see us there. But you can also you can catch my new record, which is presented by Jazz at Lincoln Center's record label, Blue Engine Records. So you don't need a ticket for that. You just go on Spotify or whatever you do, and you go to jazz.org/Alexa. So that's
well, Alexa, thank you
for
so much for your time. Congratulations on all of your success. And maybe Earth, Wind, and Fire in, 2026 or 2027 again.
There we go. There we go. Thank you both so much. You're awesome.
Thank you. Best of luck. Time right now is 9:37. Much more to come this morning on ARC Rochester when we come back. This morning's Reporter Recap. We're back after this, but don't forget, as you head for the door, you can take us with you. ARC Rochester is streaming live right now on 13 Wham's YouTube channel and foxrochester.com. Stick around. 9:40, welcome back. For this morning's reporter recap, we're learning more about a tense traffic stop involving ICE and Border Patrol agents, and it was all caught on camera in Rochester.
Yeah, we're told a U.S. citizen was arrested and then later released. 13 WEM's Natalie Calzatoni has more on that dramatic video.
A mother and daughter visiting Rochester from Georgia, witnessing a tense traffic stop involving ICE and Border Patrol on Brown Street in Rochester Tuesday morning. Agents can be seen in this video captured by Caden Good trying to get occupants inside a truck to open the door.
Are you opening it or no?
Before smashing in a window.
What the hell? That's when, it struck me, and I was horrified. I couldn't believe it.
Yvette Good asked if agents had a warrant, and one replied with yes. They were then seen taking people out of the truck, including a man named Jose Castro.
What's your name?
My name is Jose Castro. I'm a citizen here.
Jose's sister Dina says her brother is originally from Ecuador and is now a United States citizen. She tells me Jose was on his way to his job with coworkers and showed agents ID when he was stopped.
They were showing a picture of somebody that they were looking for, and my brother said that that person wasn't in the vehicle with him. My brother kept saying that he wanted to see a warrant. He wanted to see like a paper saying that they have the permission to search in his vehicle, but they would refuse. They didn't say anything.
In March, ICE announced it began conducting enhanced targeted operations in parts of New York to enforce immigration law. The White House has also stated its focus right now is deporting criminals who are in the country illegally. Castro says her brother was later released, but remains on edge.
We pay our taxes, we go to work, we make an honest living. It's not like we're not criminals, so nothing like this has ever happened to us.
All right, so Natalie is here now to talk a little bit more about the story. And Natalie, you had the opportunity to talk with Caden and Yvette Good, who were the witnesses during that stop. Tell us a little more in detail about how they felt a couple days after watching this incident.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I said, they were in town visiting family from Georgia, and this kind of broke out in front of their grandmother's place early in the morning. They went outside and they were a little taken back by this. They had both never seen it before. I know we've seen targeted operations of ICE around Rochester. I'm not sure what the situation is in Georgia. I know they were pretty shocked, and that's why, Caden started recording when she could. She was pretty shocked by seeing it.
Do we know, does Jose's sister know why ICE was looking at him?
No idea. And we're trying to learn more ourselves. I've reached out to ICE. I've reached out to Border Patrol. Border Patrol said they assisted ICE, but they didn't provide further comment. I'll reach out to ICE again today, just trying to learn more about why his truck was targeted. I know she had mentioned that they were looking for somebody. Jose had mentioned that, the person they were looking for wasn't inside the truck. So I'm not totally sure. We're trying to learn more about that.
And Jose's sister, who you spoke with, how was she feeling? Angry, upset, confused? All of it?
All of it, honestly. Yeah. I think it was a shock. Like she said, that had never happened to them before. He's from Ecuador. He's been here. I think the whole family is. And she was pretty shocked and terrified to learn that, him being a U.S. citizen as well.
Well, sure. When you're getting ready to go to work and you're, or out there on the job, maybe picking up coworkers, it's not something that you anticipate or that you expect to happen, to be stopped by ICE and questioned and subsequently have your window broken and be detained or temporarily arrested. That's not normal.
No, absolutely. And, it's my understanding the agents became frustrated because they wouldn't open the car door. I believe Jose wanted some sort of search warrant before doing so that led to the window being smashed. And that really surprised the witnesses the most, they told me.
And one of the witnesses said they asked if there was a warrant, and one agent said, yes, there is one. Did we ever get any confirmation on whether or not there actually was one in their hands, or maybe there was confusion, maybe, anything like that?
No, the agent did reply yes to the warrant question. I know Jose's sister mentioned that Jose wanted to see a piece of paper, that said that, and I don't believe that was shown, and he didn't open the door. But like I said, trying to learn more, and hopefully we will learn more about this from ICE.
We've seen something similar to this play out in the Rochester region not too long ago, just a few months back, in a situation that involved Rochester police. Rochester police have any role in this at the scene? Nothing?
No, not that we know of. They were not involved here.
Okay.
Natalie, we really appreciate the time today and appreciate you following this story. What is next for this family?
Yeah, I think they're trying to heal from this. I know Jose is kind of, shaken up by it right now. We're not sure what happened to the other occupants inside the van. Not sure right now. We're trying to learn more about that too. And
yeah, and just to bring this up again, you first saw this video on social media. It had gone viral, correct?
Yes, on TikTok. Caden Good had posted it, and it went viral.
And what were people saying in the comments?
I think a lot of people were just confused and wanted to learn more. I mean, from the visuals, it's a pretty shocking scene, and there's always more to the story. I think people just want to learn more, and there's a lot of confusion around this.
Yeah, I mean, you see 3 people with brown skin in handcuffs. Yeah, it's curious.
Right.
All right, Natalie Kelzatoni, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
All right, much more to get to this morning on ARC Rochester.
Stick around. We are back after this, taking a look at some of the stories that have people at home talking today. It's time to see what's trending, starting with a Texas man who was married without saying I do.
I didn't think that's how it works, but okay. According to a local news station, a 42-year-old man and 36-year-old woman recently called their engagement off.
The man said that a few days after the breakup, he received a gift bag from Bath & Body Works delivered to his house.
Huh? Wanna try it again?
Yeah. A few days after that, he says he received a gift bag from Bath & Body Works delivered to his house.
The bag contained products and a copy of an officiated marriage license with their names.
The bag also contained a selfie of a woman, the woman, holding up the legal document which recognizes the relationship.
The man admitted to authorities that when the pair were still together, they did go to the county clerk to receive a marriage license.
Okay, they were in the process of planning their wedding, but never quite made it to the aisle. After the argument between the two, the man said it was over, but she didn't think so.
The woman then went behind his back and convinced a pastor to certify their marriage, even though he wasn't in attendance or even aware of the ceremony.
The Reverend signed off on the fraudulent wedding, and she took it to be filed with officials.
Police are currently working with the man, assisting him in the legal process, and police, by the way, also arrested this woman and charged her for third-degree felony stalking.
Yeah, restraining order.
Yeah.
And maybe seek some mental help.
What was with the Bath & Body Works bag? Hold on. I feel like I missed part of that. What was with that?
I think it was just a Bath & Body Works gift bag.
She delivered it. Okay.
Here.
Well.
Here's some bath bombs and our marriage certificate.
Wow. That's one way to do it.
No. Get help. If someone doesn't want to be with you, don't be with them.
Yeah.
Why would you still want to be with that person? It's not going to be a good relationship. It's not going to be healthy. It's not going to be any fun. Why do that?
That's true.
Right?
Yeah, no, you're totally right.
Like
it's
you're setting yourself up for failure.
Did you ever see the show Friends?
Yeah.
You know how, well, you know, you never know sometimes with people. I'm sorry, you never know. Ross and Rachel, they get married in Vegas, and he pretends like they're getting divorced, and then fully intends on staying married to her.
Oh, yeah.
That is
psycho.
So creepy.
Psycho. He should have gone to jail for that.
He should have.
She went to jail for that. Speaking of weddings, moving on to our next story, one bride is sparking a lot of hate online after she punished guests who ghosted.
Okay, one bride took to social media to rant about guests who RSVP'd to her wedding but were no-shows.
In the post, it explains that, like with majority of all weddings, the couple uses RSVPs to get a head count for food.
Yeah, food and beverage and party favors and all of it. The bride was told by one of the guests that she invited that they would be there along with their partner and mother.
When the day came around, only one of them actually showed up.
The other two were either sick or had work scheduling conflicts.
The bride was seeing red. She said she couldn't believe they didn't show up and demanded the two pay $50 for their missed meals. That's cheap meal.
I was going to say I'd demand a lot more. People in the comments had mixed reactions, some saying she was justified, others saying she was being ridiculous.
Just for a little context, the average wedding costs about $26,665. Food alone costs around $5,400. Is it tacky or understandable? 100% tacky. 100% tacky.
It's totally tacky. I understand being angry.
Yeah.
1,000,000%. I would not say, give me $50.
No.
I
wouldn't say anything.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Well.
It's your...
Go ahead.
It's $100. It's her wedding day. You're really, on your wedding day, you're going to let two no-shows bring you down? Get it together.
You're totally right. You're the marriage expert. Let's move on. When we come back, our final thoughts this Thursday morning.
Okay, and our final thoughts are going to be whatever you're thinking right now.
Can't say it on TV, babe. We're back after this. news is we aired our grievances and
Yes.
everything is fine.
Yes.
It got a little shouty.
We went to counseling, but
Settled
we're
out
back-
of
we're
settled
back
out of court.
together.
You just told me we're getting divorced.
No, well, yeah, and you said, and I'm glad you're leaving. And then you said, I still love you, buddy.
And you said, I know. There was no I love you too.
I did. I love you too.
Okay.
I wanted to see, I was doing it for the public so they
Okay.
could see it,
All
just
right.
like you do at the weddings for the public.
Just
All right.
all over me.
Did I?
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh boy.
It's fine. It's all right.
Terms
That's
of
kind of the
endearment.
relationship we
It's
have.
love. Yeah.
All right, final thoughts. We're running low. Who's got what? Best bits.
Come on, guys.
Mark is happy with the garden.
Yeah. Clearly, everything is going very well.
Oh, Lord.
Progress is A-okay.
Yeah.
Steady as she goes,
Listen, it's happening, which is great.
allegedly. Next week.
Yeah.
Crossing my toes, too.
Yeah. Fingers, toes,
That's
all of
amazing.
it. Break out the jorts, baby.
That might be my favorite
I
moment.
think we need 1 day in 14 hours, though. It's 10:42 tomorrow night for summer, right? Not 14 hours, right? Is that right?
Way to screw it up, Ashley.
It's on the
No, that's okay, whatever.
That does it for
I
us
gotta
here
turn
on Arc Rochester. Make sure to wake up with us again tomorrow morning, starting at 4:57 on.
It's 13 Wham ABC. Dan won't be here. I'll be here. Steph will be here. Everyone else will be here. Much more live local news later today. Join Steph and Mark.
Bye.
Wham News at midday.